Hi, chemistry students. This is Mr. Chesser. I wanted to make a quick intro video to Unit 1 of Chemistry. I'll probably make one of these for each unit as we move along. I just wanted to tell you what this unit was going to be about. The science of chemistry is really about how atoms interact with one another, and you're going to learn that as we move along. But in general, we want to start with some methods of how to talk about those atoms and measure those atoms and identify those atoms. So Unit 1 is kind of about that. I'm going to quickly go through some of the lessons in Unit 1. We might get to all of them real quickly. There's a matter pretest. Don't take that first unproctored unless you're using the white path, and probably for this first time you want to use the white path, so that might be okay. After you get past this how to turn stuff in and other things that I've got that are just little formal things to teach you how the best way to turn things in and take notes are, we get down to the real business of some chemistry here, like the science of chemistry. Usually the first unit in any of these science modules is going to be, or the first lesson in any of these science modules is going to be a little overview about the subject, but then it's also going to talk about science itself. So expect just some stuff that's general about like, hey, here's what chemistry is, and oh, in general, this is how science works in this module. Once you get through that, measurement turns out to be an incredibly important thing in chemistry. Matter is just stuff. Atoms make up stuff. Air, water, liquids, solids, gases are all made out of atoms. They're made out of matter. And a lot of chemistry is measuring those things and taking note of when one thing changes into another, like when you burn wood, it starts as a solid, but it turns into a gas. And taking measurements of these things is really important in chemistry because atoms are tiny, tiny, unimaginably small things. And just losing track of a tiny amount of them might mean you've lost track of literally quadrillions of atoms, probably more than that. So measurement turns out to be very important. And so this is a lesson about how do we measure stuff. There's lots of different ways to measure things. There are imperial measurements, which is what you're used to, like feet and inches. But then there's a much better measuring system called the metric system. And that's what we use in science. And you'll be learning about that in here. You've probably learned some stuff about it in the past. If you need help with this, let me know. I have some tricks on how to do unit conversions. Then we're going to learn some stuff about energy and temperature. Within chemistry, we very frequently are changing energy levels. The reason that gasoline can power your car or that the sandwich you eat today can power your body is because there's chemical energy bound up within the molecules that is then released when a chemical reaction happens with those substances. That's released as energy. And so we'll be talking about that. And energy in terms of heat is measured by a scale we call temperature. So you're going to learn about that some. Then we'll do a little unit on properties of matter. These are what matter is like. And so this properties of matter and changes of matter is going to be about things like phase changes. The stuff in your freezer that you put in your glass of drink is water. It's water in its solid form. You would probably typically call it ice, but ice is just our name for solid water. As I speak to you right now, water as a gas is also escaping my mouth. It's a byproduct of some of the metabolic activities that your body does. So we're going to talk in chemistry about how things change, solid, liquid, gas, and in some cases plasma, which is a fourth state of matter, which you might find in a lightning bolt, or within the sun itself or something like that. So we'll talk about those things there. Then we'll talk about pure substances versus mixtures. There's a difference between pure oxygen, which is in the air right now, and carbon mixed with oxygen, carbon dioxide, which is also in the air right now. And both of those things are mixed together too. So defining those things is an important part of chemistry, and we're going to talk about that in that section. Then a little bit on how we work in the lab in chemistry. There'll probably be some safety in there too. Then you'll move on to your matter discussion-based assessment. Don't be scared of it. It's not terrifying. It's just me asking you some questions. And especially if you've done all those chemistry journals and studied them, you should do just fine. Make sure and let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.